Most everyone with an interest in baseball from yesteryear is familiar with this famous photo of Babe Ruth, taken by Nat Fane, entitled "The Babe Bows Out." Fane became the first sports photographer to win the Pulitzer Prize for this photo. The photo, and many, many others, were taken during a pre-game ceremony on Sunday, June 13, 1948. This would be Ruth's final appearance at Yankee Stadium. But did you know who the Yankees were playing that day? Or more importantly, do you know whose bat that was that Ruth was leaning on? Well, it wasn't one of Babe Ruth's bats, but rather it belonged to a future Hall of Fame pitcher on the opposing team. And we're going to learn more about that day and that most famous bat right here on this episode of History and Relics. Yankees Stadium. The revealing and opening day game occurred on April 18, 1923, against the Boston Red Sox, before a crowd of more than 74,000 excited fans. Babe Ruth hit the very first home run in that stadium on that day. It was a 3-run shot to the short porch in right field. Everyone knew from there on out, this was the house that Ruth built. Fast forward to June 13, 1948. That year marked the 25th anniversary of Yankee Stadium, and on that June day, a special celebration would occur prior to the start of the game between the Yanks and the Cleveland Indians. As part of the 25th anniversary, Babe Ruth and some of his teammates from the 1923 team were reunited. Babe Ruth's number 3 would be retired during that event, and sadly, it would be Babe Ruth's last appearance. Before a crowd of 49,600 spectators, the frail, 53-year-old Ruth, who was suffering from throat cancer, grabbed a bat at random from a bat rack across from third base and emerged from the Cleveland Indians dugout to greet the roaring fans and take a few swings for the cameras one last time. The bat that Babe Ruth grabbed before coming out of the Indians' dugout belonged to Cleveland Indians pitcher Bob Feller. Bob had 2 at-bats in the game, at the top of the 3rd where he hit a grounder that got him on base, and at the bottom of the 4th when he hit a fly ball for the last out of the inning. Bob pitched for the Indians that day too. With an earned run average of 3.41, it wasn't enough to fend off Yankees bats as Joe DiMaggio hit a triple to left field in the bottom of the 6th with 1 out. Yogi Berra was up next, who hammered a home run that also brought DiMaggio home to score. And later in the bottom of the 8th, DiMaggio again hit a triple to left field and later scored by a subsequent ground ball. And then Phil Rizzuto hit a 2-run homer. The Indians tried to come back in the 9th with a homer themselves from Jim Hagan, but the Indians would lose to the Yanks 5-3. Sadly, Babe Ruth passed away on August 16, 1948. The Indians, however, went on to win the World Series later that year, defeating the Boston Braves 4-2. It was their 2nd World Series win since taking the title in 1920. We had a chance to meet Bob Feller on June 30, 2001, at the National Sports Collectors Convention held in Cleveland that year. Bob autographed an original photo we had from Babe Ruth's last appearance in 1948. He also told us how he didn't know about his bat being used until sometime afterwards. During the pregame ceremonies, he was in the bullpen warming up, getting ready to pitch that day. Somehow or another, the bat was given to or taken by a teammate who later sold it to infamous memorabilia collector Barry Helper. Later, Feller and Helper met up, and Bob signed the bat to Barry on November 24, 1991. According to Bob, Barry Helper eventually sold the bat to Upper Deck, and then a guy in Seattle won it in a sweepstakes. Feller contacted this person and offered him $95,000 for it because he wanted it for his museum. But the guy wanted $150,000, to which Bob said, "Well, good luck." Feller later called the man back and again offered to purchase it for $95,000, but this time on a take-it-or-leave-it basis. Well, the man took it, and Feller took the next flight out and picked up the bat. Bob and his bat that Babe Ruth used in 1948 were soon permanently reunited, and the bat became the centerpiece of his museum in Van Meter, Iowa. Here's another photo of Bob with the bat once a custom display case was built to house the 1948 treasure. Feller even had a store inside his museum that sold many unique items, including autographed professional model bats, and we were able to get one of those bats signed by Bob, to which he later inscribed to us that Babe Ruth had used his bat on June 13, 1948. Feller opened his museum in his hometown of Van Meter, Iowa, on June 10, 1995. It was designed by his son Stephen on land donated by Brenton Banks. Bob passed away on December 15, 2010, at the age of 92. In the fall of 2014, the museum members, including Bob's widow, Ann, approved a plan by the board to close the museum and sell the building to the city of Van Meter for use as their new city hall. The city continues to display some of Feller's artifacts there in honor of the legendary Hall of Famer. So where's that historical Bob Feller model bat at today? Well, it's here at Progressive Field, formerly known as Jacobs Field, in downtown Cleveland, Ohio, the home of the Cleveland Indians. The famous bat, along with a multitude of other Bob Feller memorabilia from his museum in Iowa, is on display here inside the Terrace Club. In 2019, we had a chance to visit the Terrace Club and see this bat in person for the very first time. Let's take a look. And just in case you're wondering where Babe's uniform's at that he wore on that June day in 1948, well, it's proudly on display in Cooperstown, New York, at the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Babe Ruth and Bob Feller, two of the greatest baseball players that there ever was. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode, the artifacts, and the history behind them. And until next time, everyone, this one's history. We'd like to extend a special thank you to our YouTube subscribers and our Facebook followers. Thank you for your support.